Hello, Millennium Live listeners. Connor Tui here, host of the Millennium Live podcast, and talking today with the next generation healthcare compliance platform. If continuous monitoring, AI powered health plan solutions, regulatory reporting, and business intelligence are buzzwords for you, then you're going to want to dive into this episode of Millennium Live. I am here with Pravat Rout. He is the CEO of Inovaare and has 30 years of industry experience specializing in digital transformation, specifically in the healthcare sector. And he's successfully built multiple companies in health tech and delivered solutions for both payers and providers side. Under Pravat's leadership currently, Inovaare has emerged as a real trusted partner for healthcare organizations that are currently seeking to navigate that digital landscape, prioritizing regulatory compliance and exceptional member experience. His strategic vision and relentless pursuit of excellence has guided Inovaare in developing this cutting-edge technologies that we're going to be talking about today, these solutions that elevate patient care while ensuring regulatory adherence. Pravat, thank you so much for joining Millennium Live. It's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me here. I love to discuss about the compliance and the healthcare.
Of course. So that's what I want to dive in right now with you, and to really start this conversation. I'm curious as to know why you chose to exclusively address the compliance needs of payers in the healthcare industry.
The compliance intersects every business operation in the healthcare industry. I think regulators have done a fantastic job defining the regulation to ensure the healthcare entities keeping the member health at the center of their operation. And we have seen last 10 years, there is a change of population from an employer-based program to the more government-sponsored program with Medicare, Medicaid, CHIP, and exchange, federal exchange place. And also regulators keeping the oversight program like a payment integrity, price transparency to ensure the healthcare system are becoming more efficient to reduce the overall cost. Hence, compliance is playing a significant role in the healthcare operation and the healthcare outcome. So when I built the first company in the compliance in 1998, it was addressing the HIPAA compliance requirement. I saw that a technology approach to solve a compliance requirement is really goes long way and cost-effective way. So from there, I realized that as the industry is moving towards a more regulated environment, and the regulation and the quality enforcements are good for the patient care and patient's health, we started building a platform under the Inovaare to address the current requirement, but also keep on addressing the future requirement as the landscape of the healthcare is changing.
Right, and that's what I want to talk about next. 1998. You've seen a lot of change and a lot of evolution in the healthcare industry. So, how has Inovaare itself evolved over the past decade, let's say, to meet the changing needs of healthcare payers and some of the innovations? What have you introduced to the market?
Right. Okay. That's a great question. So, if you look into the last 10 years, how the industry is changing, as I said in my previous conversation, that product offering from the payer segment is changing due to the population shift from a traditional employer-based program to a more government healthcare programs. Regulators and the employers who are paying the money are asking for better outcome and also trying to reduce the cost. So when we looked into this, compliance organization, most of the time we think that, okay, let's do some reporting or audit requirement. So that is what, once the compliance is driving the most of the operation, how can that be a bottom of the operation? So when we started the company, we saw that there is no digital transformation for basic work, like even the standard having a central repository of documents, or how to do the issue management or a corrective action plan. So we started building a centralized platform with cloud enable to ensure that basic digital transformation happens for the compliance department. But our goal, our vision was that compliance should be a overall oversight program, which will help to identify the compliance risk. And when I'm saying compliance risk, it is gearing towards the either member health or the way you are taking care of the member experience and making sure that the providers are getting paid in timely manner. So now, after 10 years, as we evolve this entire the technology, we now built a centralized uh, compliance oversight platform, which can really drive the monitoring the various business process against the regulatory requirement. So let's take an example. What I'm saying that. So our market leader Universe Scrubber, which we launched 2 years back, what that basically doing, getting the key data elements from the various business process, and then helping the all the healthcare entity or health plan not only to do a better job during the CMS program audit, but also identifying the inherent risk or what are the gaps they have in the various business processes, so that way they can fix the problem on an ongoing basis. So we have taken the Universe Scrubber solution first to reduce the overall program audit cost by CMS, but we are now enforcing or we are suggesting to the health plans that proactively you start fixing the member service area or your authorization process or the claims operation, so that way you don't identify those errors after 6 months or issues around after 6 months. With our recent release of the Usher, which is a generative AI engine, it is like a digital assistant compliance tool like Siri, which will help the business operation and the compliance organization to understand the regulation in a more conversational way or more simpler way, so that way they can focus on their business operations.
You have a variety of solutions, and I'm eager to even know more about it, Pravat. But thank you for that overview. And from your perspective, how does ensuring and monitoring compliance really drive growth in an organization and improve that member experience that we're looking for?
Yeah. So if you look into this, we look into this CMS, their general goal, what they're doing basically, collecting the data, analyzing the data, and producing the research report, and ensuring that the fraud, waste, and abuse doesn't happen, and also member care has been taken care, right? So we built this entire monitoring framework based on the CMS guidelines. Okay, they've done a pretty good job. So since our solution is built on this Medicare or Medicaid, framework, that is basically helping the healthcare entity to identify the gaps in their member services or care is being provided. For example, like monitoring like KPI in the area of the member grievances or appeals or authorization process, and identifying the trend and pattern of those non-compliances. Health plan is proactively fixing these issues. So that is creating a better member experience, because you are proactively going and fixing the issue rather than member complaining about it. So because of that, there is a improvement of the member experience, and that what it's doing is that it is giving a positive um, marketing thing for marketing to the health plan. So that way, when they go for the, trying to get more members, it is helping them. That is one side. The second side, we are seeing that it's also helping star rating and the star rating and any other quality improvement, which basically drives the additional reimbursement from the Medicare and Medicaid. And it's creating a framework for a future value-based care model, which industry is driving towards.
There's no surprise that you guys are considered the compliance experts. As CEO, Pravat, what are some specific challenges that payers are currently facing, and what you've seen out there, and the solutions that Inovaare is providing to address those challenges through its products and services?
The population is changing, right? The demographic from the, as I said, employer-based to government program. Now more than 140 million members are under Medicare or Medicaid or different programs. The regulatory requirements are getting more stringent to ensure beneficiary or member health has been addressed. So that is one thing that we're seeing a significant change in the population base. The second thing that we are seeing, health plans are in the middle of the digital transformation from a traditional legacy application to more modern cloud computing. They're in the middle of that thing. Unlike the financial segment and other retail industry, healthcare has been slow to adopt the digital transformation. And it is because of the fear of the privacy and security. And that's why, but digital transformation has to happen to the cloud computing, to the AI, to provide a better care. So now the other thing is that the health plans are trying to delegate certain processes to the different organization, so that way they can get the best output. So what is happening because of this transformation of in the middle of the transformation, the regulatory changes are happening, processes are being outsourced. It is the data which is being collected. When they are not able to create a centralized way to manage their operation because of the disparate technology, disparate business model. While that cannot be avoided, it will go through that transformation process. What Inovaare is helping that to provide a oversight program, a configurable oversight program, which can be changed based on the compliance or policy requirement. So that way, they can really monitor their business process irrespective of where the data is coming from, whether data is coming from the legacy system or data is coming from the more modern cloud environment or their delegated entities. So this layer is based on the compliance and the quality requirement. It's kind of helping them to monitor the process and identifying the compliance risk. So let me give an quick example. Recently, we implemented a solution for a Medicare Advantage health plan, which operates multiple states. They acquired a company which the new health plan has their own technology and had around 30 to 35 delegated entities. The challenge was that after the acquisition, how they can enforce a single policy between the parent company and the acquired company. So we have implemented a universe management solution, a KPI monitoring, and a corrective action plan. And we said, okay, while you guys are consolidating your technology, we can provide this framework. We can collect the data from various sources. So that way you can see how you are performing against the policy or contract what you would have signed and based on the regulatory requirement. So it's basically helping them to have a centralized monitoring program without changing the building blocks of various business processes.
Mm. Well, I think this is why you're a proven industry leader in digital transformation within health plans. And that was a perfect segue. I kind of want to dive in a little deeper into some examples. You have a variety of products and services that you're offering, and you mentioned some already in that last response. But can you provide some examples of some, maybe a case study or two of how your products and services have helped customers improve that member experience, as well as reduced costs and mitigated risks? And perhaps overall, how are you giving your customers a competitive edge in this very niche competitive market?
In healthcare, member is the revenue and member is the cost, right? You're getting because of the member, the health plan are receiving the money from the employer or from the CMS and providing the providing the care, that is the cost, right? So that means member is the center of the health plan or healthcare industry. So member experience is very important to make sure that both revenue and cost is managed. So let's take an example of a member grievances process in a Medicare Advantage health plan. Traditionally, when somebody will, a member will send a complaint or a grievances, well, you can just take the grievances and say what it is all about and give a resolution. With the Medicare or the Medicaid, they expect that it has to follow a certain compliance guidelines, including the turnaround time and how do you categorize the grievances. And they take that information into their system every year to see which health plan we may have to audit based on the data they're collecting. So this particular scenario, what we are doing, we are providing a compliant grievances system, part of our overall member experience solution. So we are not only ensuring that from the case entry to the closure, it is complying with the regulation and also doing timely manner. And that is helping the member satisfaction for that case. But that is only one aspect of how you address the problem. So then we're taking and putting into our advanced analytics and AI-enabled model where we are identifying, is this member have a systemic problem with from various sources, or it is one of kind? That is one. The second thing also we're analyzing that is that similar issue are being reported by the other member also or not. So then go and fix that problem through the corrective action plan. So that way the health plan may not experience the increase of the grievances. So let's take an example, in this scenario that there was a grievances, we looked into the grievances process by a member that their appointments getting delayed or they're not getting a good response from the provider office to do a appointment in timely manner. So it's a grievances. But then we looked into that, okay, it looks like 40% of the population for that provider office having the similar problem. And then the system has created a corrective action plan saying that you may have to go back to this provider office and explain to them what's happening and fix that appointment process. And what we've seen that by putting that kind of a program, the number of grievances has gone down by a certain percentage. So it is not only helping that single member, but the entire beneficiary who are being affected, that particular members. So that's kind of a way one is that improving the member satisfaction because of the less number of complaints and the grievances. It is reducing the operating cost, and it also reducing the risk of non-compliance as well as member dissatisfaction and member leaving the health plan system. So just not the workflow, the advanced analytics with the AI driving that, okay, what action you need to create for this particular trend. So that way they can prioritize and see what needs to be done. So that is how that we are helping the overall experience of the member, reducing the compliance risk, reducing the member dissatisfaction, which is the revenue risk. As I said, member is the revenue. So it's reducing the member risk. And especially in the Medicare and Medicaid, which is mostly a B2C model, you need to address every member, not like a employer-based model where you go and fix at an employer level. They don't have choice. But now the consumer or the member has a choice because it's a B2C model.
Right. Yes, I mean, Pravat, thank you so much for taking the time to do and run through all of this and how Inovaare is empowering these health plans to really improve that member experience and have that automated regulatory compliance requirements and checking all those boxes. I mean, it's awesome to talk to somebody like you with over 30 years experience and getting to see where this is, and which leads me to my last question of where this is going. And someone in your shoes that's been involved with many health tech companies, and now we're talking about Inovaare and all the great work that you're doing there. Where do you see this industry as a whole evolving in the next 5 to 10 years, the next decade, if you will? And as CEO, how is Inovaare really positioned to stay ahead of the curve in this market, in this space?
Yeah, I think that the challenge we have always, and we're going to be, that how to reduce the healthcare cost and without compromising the outcome of the healthcare or for the members. In a way, they're kind of interlinked. We sometimes think that, okay, a better healthcare outcome requires a higher cost. That's not true. The truth is that how proactively you go and fix the issues. So that way you can provide the similar care with a less cost. That is number one. Second thing, I think that industry is moving towards a value-based care model. We are there with the transition happening from a traditional model to the fee-for-service to a value-based model. It is yet not fully ready, and next several years, industry is going to be under pressure to move towards a value-based care model. So that way, the organizations who are doing better on their managing the population, they get rewarded, and the other organization who are not managing a set of population right way, that will not get that kind of a margins to operate in a efficient manner, because cost is going to be one of the major thing moving forward. So that means the entire population need to be created a subset of population based on their condition and the which cohort they are belong to. For that, first we have to see, can we understand the current service utilization? What are the service being provided? How many times being provided? What can be done? That will be the foundation for moving towards a value-based care model to create the population into different segments. So to address that one, what Inovaare is saying that, okay, you give the data the way CMS is expecting. CMS has already created that model that what data elements are required. And anyway, the health plans have to submit because of the regulatory requirement. Then why not take that data and understand deep inside into what is the population base, what is the risk on that population, and how do you address proactively to a specific population base. So Innovaire's this intelligent compliance data mart, getting irrespective of the environment, collecting the data, giving the deep insight that, okay, for this particular state or this county, this population, these are the service utilizations that are happening, and these are the area that members are satisfied or dissatisfied about the provider operation, so that you can fix the problem and proactively you address the care, which will reduce the hospitalization and or more chronic condition, and that will improve the cost. I think that's the direction how the industry is moving. And I think that if most of the health plan, doesn't matter it is a employer-based program or a government program, if they can adhere to the best practices provided by the CMS, Medicare and Medicaid, that will give the idea that where are the risk, what are fixes need to be done. And with the evolution of the AI technology, it is going to be super easy to really identify that problem. And that's why we're investing heavily into the AI to understand the data, compliance data, and provide the specific prescription to each of the department how to perform their operation better. I think that's what at Inovaare we are doing and we want to do.
Well, that's awesome to hear, Pravat. Thank you so much. And thank you for so much for talking through all of this on Millennium Live and on the podcast with the Millennium Alliance. So it's great to have you here. It's great to hear all about the work and what a great partner that you are for healthcare organizations, really navigating the digital landscape through regulatory compliance and, of course, that exceptional member experience. Thank you so much for walking us through that, and we look forward to the future and what it brings. So, Pravat, thank you so much once again on being a Millennium Live, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.